Hi, I'm Nanny Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Sagittarius for May 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter where you will get a write-up of the upcoming stars a month ahead so that you have it for your planning purposes and you have it visually, that you're not just hearing it through the horoscopes, but you have something written that you can refer to. So what's going on this month? This is a month that we have been waiting for. Movement and manifestation to the max is what I am expecting. This is a time, finally, since the end of last year, we've had this succession of retrograde personal planets that have been causing us to be more internal. And hopefully over this time, especially my, wild, fiery, saggy friends like myself, where we're very focused on outer movement and just movement in general, that any movement is better than no movement, for Sages. But we've gone through this time where it's really pulling us in and back. But now, in May, that's all changing. So we're starting to move into the launch time, the big decision time, the time to get really busy and take action and be on the move and do lots of stuff. So there are a couple of houses that I see especially highlighted for you this month before I go into the details of all the specific transits and how I think you can best use them. I'm going to talk about some things specific to Sag. So I'm calling this month Fun to the Max for Sages because there is a strong focus on the 5th house. And this will be for early, middle, and late degree placements. It's different. There are different planets there for early, middle, and late degree placements. But each of the, areas of Sag have something going on in the 5th house. And the 5th house is the house of fun. So, creativity, hobbies, children, playing, romance, fun just for the sake of itself, pleasure, is what is coming up here, which is amazing. You might find in general that you get really antsy in May, and you might associate it with like summer fever or something like that, but when planetary energy starts to move into Gemini, even though the sun is in Taurus for most of the month, Mars is in Gemini, there's a lot of energy moving in Gemini. And there's also energy in Aries. Fire and air make our fire spin out more. And we don't really need any provocation for spinning out more, right? But when we have it, it gets us worked up. So you might notice that every May, you start to get like really antsy, you get really restless. My fellow traveling Sages, you might feel ready to be on the move. And this month, there's a very great likelihood that all of those things that you love, movement, communication, information, sharing, things happening, things being busy, that all of that is going to be lighting up for you. There's another field of experience that's lighting up, which is the 6th house. And the 6th house has to do with health. It has to do with your daily routine and also pets and animals. And so some of you might still be working on some health things, excavating, these enigmatic health issues and getting your regimen intact. It's really important for Sages to have a grounded daily routine because I think it's important for everybody, but we're just so crazy, like our energy spins in this upward spiral and it's always spinning and spiraling. So if you don't have a daily exercise practice or a daily meditation practice or both, it's really hard to not spin out and get whacked out. So this is a really good month for you to try to add some sanity, like a sanity anchor, while you're spinning out further, because that's what we want to do, right? We want to spin out and out and out, but we want to do that without getting whacked out. So if you have a daily anchor, daily rituals, things like that you can establish at this time while you have this good energy in the 6th house, it will help you spin out even further and then be able to spin back in and then spin out and then spin back in. Something else I really like for this month is this book. I think I'm going to get the name of it wrong, but I'll give you enough that when you search for it, you'll be able to find it. It's called The Magical Art of Tidying Up. It's she puts together her KonMari, I can't even remember her name now, but method for organizing your life and getting clutter out of your way. And the reason why this is really important, especially for people who are aware that things outside of us affect us and we affect the things outside of us, if you have incoherence in your field, in your life, in your house, in your office, in your car, that's going to affect your manifestations. And I believe that we're here to be conscious co-creators in this reality, this creation game of this earth plane. You know, we have a heliocentric experience where the sun is at the center of our experience, and the sun in the chart represents what you want, what you desire. And so it's showing us that this desire consciousness of creating that which spirit wants for us when we align with spirit is really what we're supposed to be doing. Now, I don't mean not being centered and present within yourself and happy with what you have. I don't mean, that ice cream sandwiches are what you want, so you need to eat them all. It's different. It's when spirit, that thing that comes into your field, and when it does, it's like the angels sing, and I feel like my cells, when those things come to me, my cells perk up like sunflowers, that just with strong stalks and just lift up. Every cell in my body lights up. That's how I know when spirit wants something for me. And then I align with that thing, and then it makes us unstoppable forces when we align our will with divine will. So starting to recognize when spirit wants something for us, and then aligning with that helps us to be in the flow and be happy and be these powerful conscious co-creators and creatrixes. So you've got a massive opportunity to do that with the energy in the 5th house, but you also have this opportunity to clear up the things around you that are affecting your manifestations. So if you, let's say, look at your bookshelf, because I know that pretty much all of you have a crap load of books, okay? And there are books in your nightstand, and they're piled up really high. If I could show you my books, you would laugh, because this is what we do. So if you look at your books that are most visible, and you like them all for some reason, so you keep them all, but maybe some books are like back on shelves or in closed closets or something. What we want to do during this time is bring the books that you're really wanting to engage with and put those where your subconscious mind is seeing them every day, where you're waking up and you're seeing them. All of the things that you're looking at, you want them to be in alignment with what you're trying to create. So you're going to have a lot of good chuckles when you look around and see the pictures and the piles and the things that are just totally outdated for you. Maybe you were sick for a while and you were struggling with being sick, and you have all these books about healing. Well, maybe you're staying stuck and having to continue this healing and not being able to be vibrantly healthy right now because you have all of this healing stuff sitting right in front of you, imprinting your subconscious mind, instead of things like, I am well, I am whole, So just take the time this month, in between everything else that's going on, because you'll probably be traveling and busy and talking and seeing your friends and doing everything, moving around. Take some time to just pull into coherence and build some anchors, and that will really support you to spin out in even bigger ways as we have this open period from the personal planets retrograde. So there's one other thing I wanted to talk about for Saggies, and that is the full moon. So the full moon for early and some of you middle degree placements, so that's, we'll say the first half of the sign, if your birthday's in the first half of the sign, or if you're like up to 15 degrees, 0 to 15 degrees, you're going to have the energy in or near the 12th house for the full moon. The full moon brings fullness, completion, fruition, sometimes drama, sometimes insights, sometimes something coming that you've been working on. But for you, first half, this is going to happen in your 12th house. And that's a pretty intense place to have a full moon, because this is the house of fears, this is the house of addictions, this is the house of emotions. Sagittarius are really great at talking about emotions, but the whole feeling of them and like taking the time to feel and whatever, we don't really get that unless we've trained ourselves to do that. It's like you take the emotions and put them into action, right? That's the Sagittarius thing to do. So when a full moon like this happens in a water sign, in a water house, it adds this intensity where there's something that has to be dealt with. You're very afraid it's, coming up to fruition, or there's a pattern that's coming up for you to heal. This is a fantastic time to do any kind of inner work, hypnosis, past life regression. Meditation is very powerful, especially at this time. So you could permanently clear up something that has been undercover causing you problems at this time. But you could also just feel like you're going crazy. Sometimes people will have like a mental episode of a sort when this happens and they don't know what's happening because it's extra intense emotionally and it feels uncomfortable. But do remember not to fear this because, first of all, usually with the full moon things, unless it's an eclipse, which this is not an eclipse, the moon things tend to blow over pretty quickly. You know, it's intense and then it kind of fizzles out. So that's going to be around the 10th of May. The rest of you will experience the full moon energy in the 11th house. So it makes it more likely that you'll have something go on with a friend, you know, a fight or something coming to fruition. Let me also mention that with the 12th house manifestation, you could reach a spiritual breakthrough with that full moon energy. It doesn't just have to be something challenging, or it could be something challenging that leads to something great. But, you know, there's a very strong opportunity for a major spiritual breakthrough to occur at that full moon. Okay, so back to our 11th house for the rest of y'all. There could be something that comes up with a friend or a social group or a network, online or in person, you know, something you're a part of, a community project, something internet related, a humanitarian effort, something like that could see fullness, completion. It could also see recognition. It could also have people notice it, you know, so those types of manifestations. So those are the things that I'm most on my mind for Sages in particular. But now I want to talk about all the details of the dates of all of the different aspects that I think are notable, what I think you need to know about them. I want to talk more about this amazing Saturn and Uranus trine, which is bringing potentials for harmonious transitions. We have so much energy moving us forward for change at these crossroads at this time. So, and this open window from the retrograde. So I want to talk more about that now. So I'm calling the theme of the month of May for all signs, movement and manifestation to the max. This is the month that we have been waiting for through all of the retrograde cycles that started at the end of 2016. So there are definitely going to be major opportunities for the launches, for the trips, for the action, for the activity, for the big decisions. And we have some really amazing transits that line up with this clearing of the retrogrades. So I'll just go in order about the notable dates and the transits on those dates. Do know that when you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, I do a write-up, a general write-up for the month ahead so that you have a lot of the points that I talk about written down, and you know it's easier to refer to for your planning purposes, so you can check that out too. So on May 3rd, this is the day that Mercury goes direct, and Mercury goes direct at 24 degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets close to there, of course, you'll be affected more than others or in aspect to them to that degree. But everyone will likely experience more chaos around the days that Mercury goes direct. So it would be a false idea to think, oh, today Mercury is direct, now today or tomorrow I will go and do all these things and make all these decisions and try to get all this stuff done. You'll feel it when you pay attention that the energies are very chaotic the days before and the days after a planet goes retrograde, or the days before or the days after it goes direct. So I say give it a few days, you know, several days after the 3rd, before you start taking action. I know your little horsey's chomping at the bit, waiting through 5 months of retrograde energies to try to do things, but do wait just a little longer. On May 9th, we've got the first day that I consider really, really good to start doing some things, you know. You have to feel in to see if your launches or things like that would be good on this day, but I like a little bit later in the month because the shadow energies start to clear more. But this is certainly a day when the sun in Taurus makes a trine to Pluto in Capricorn, where you have tremendous power aligning with your desires. So you could, just feel into it. This could be a day to do some of the things on your list. On May 10th, we have the full moon at 20 degrees of Scorpio, and at the same time we have a Uranus and Mercury conjunction. So full moons usually bring fullness, completion, drama. Sometimes they bring happy tears, sometimes they bring stress, But there is this fullness, this completion, this coming to fruition of anything in the area of Scorpio. So something having to do with an intimate relationship, a business partnership, a financial relationship or agreement, something with esoteric studies. Many people can have major spiritual transformation that occurs at this time, or insights that occur. If someone is doing research or looking into a mystery, sometimes this energy can bring answers that you've been looking for, that you've been delving deep, searching for. The fact that Uranus and Mercury are going to make this conjunction at the same time always alerts me to watch your head and your brain, because Uranus in Aries, Uranus brings surprises, it could bring jolts. Mercury is like your movement, and it just always behooves us to guard your head, especially during this time, especially since the full moon is bringing excess of drama and emotions. And sometimes, everybody knows that people get a little more crazy at the full moon, right? Even people that don't believe in astrology know that that's true. So I like to leave a little space around the full moons so that whatever comes up, you can be fully present for them. So that's May 10th, the full moon in Scorpio. On May 11th, we have a square with Mars in Gemini to Neptune in Pisces. And so how I see this energy coming together as a potential is information overload, action overload, things to do, just kind of energy and movement combining with chaos and confusion, so this might be a day to step back. I always like to remind you that even though I give you the dates of the transits, sometimes we feel the energy of the planets coming together on the days before or the days after the actual transit. So you really need to feel in with your intuition if a day is good for something. Just because we say today is a good day in the cosmos, if you're having a bad day that day and things are not flowing for you, maybe you don't want to align with trying to make a big decision or do something on that day just because it happens to be a quote good transit. Sometimes you'll feel the good energy days before, so if you're feeling it, everything is aligning. You don't have to necessarily wait for the exact day the transit happens. If it's a positive transit, you can take advantage of that energy when you feel it beforehand as well. So I just wanted to point that out. So this Mars in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces aspect could bring some action and information overload. So just kind of draw back a little bit. That is the other thing to know about this month. Although there are definitely energetic clearings going on, the planets are going direct that were retrograde, the shadows, or at least Mercury is, the Venus retrograde shadow transit is going to be over this month. We'll talk about that later. Mercury retrograde transit or shadow will be over later. There's this clearing out going, kind of opening up some room for action and things to happen. But this energy is interspersed with these little challenging moments. So you really just have to feel your way through to see which is a good time to do what and to take best advantage of the good energy when you're feeling it. Okay, so also on May 11th, Mercury in Aries is going to make a trine to Saturn and Sag. And so this energy is really good for good news and forward movement, especially on long-term projects. So the fact that it's so close to the full moon and this other aspect with Mars and Neptune, you just have to feel your way through. Feel when you're feeling that good energy flowing, then jump on that and take your actions at that time. On the 14th, the nodes, I started talking about the North and South node in transit last month in the April report. The North node in transit shows us keys to our highest expression. And right now, on May 14th, the nodes change to the polarity of Leo and Aquarius. And so when the North node is transiting in Leo, it's pointing for all of us to have more energy towards following our bliss. That's what Leo energy is about, is living in this constant manifestation of these true desires. A true desire is not necessarily a chocolate cake. Or a purse or something like that. The true desires, the ones that spirit wants for us, aligns for us. And who knows, maybe a purse or a chocolate cake could be part of that if it's part of something bigger for somebody. I have no judgment on the desires. We just have to be careful that addictions don't cloud the way of true desires that spirit wants for us, you know? So when we really, really, really want something, it's usually because spirit really, really wants that for us. And when we align our energies with where spirit is directing us, we become an unstoppable force for manifestation. So with the transiting node moving into Leo, we're all going to have years of support for following our bliss. It reminds me of the quote by Joseph Campbell. If you haven't studied his work, he's amazing. He basically, this is, loosely, he talks about how when you follow your bliss, doors open that weren't there before. Not even doors necessarily that were closed, just like doors open from places where there just weren't any doors. When you follow your bliss, you align with that energy, you supercharge yourself for manifestation. So this is really good news for me for assisting everyone in following that bliss, because the universe is really supporting this at this time. So on May 18th, we have a nice angle between the Sun and Taurus and Chiron and Pisces. Chiron is an asteroid, it's the wounded healer. And it talks about how our weak spots can actually be our greatest strengths. So when we have a nice angle here, it's showing us that we have a chance to easily convert a weakness to a strength. That's what Chiron to me is all about. So when you have something at a nice angle to it, it means that conversion can be relatively easy. When you have Chiron in a challenging angle, then that conversion can be a little bit stressful. But this is like a nice little sweet spot here, in the middle of the month, where something that was serving to hinder you actually serves as your springboard. So around May 19th, we have this amazing long-term story, beautiful aspect between Saturn and Sagittarius and Uranus and Aries. So we've talked about outer planets, how when they get together, they create these long-term challenges, which could be opportunities or just straight opportunities. So this is just straight up opportunity for harmonious transitions. The first time Saturn and Uranus came together in this configuration in recent times was December 24th of 2016. So here now, May 19th, is our second run of this story. And then the third run they'll connect again on November 11th. And they won't come together again like this until 2047. So this is a really rare aspect, and it is one that is a theme for the whole year from the end of 2016 through the end of 2017. And this month of May, and actually for the end of April, all of May, and almost half of June, Saturn and Uranus are in this amazing close proximity that's just opening doors, just like we were talking about for following your bliss. So it's really supercharged. And so the energies are also both in fire. And fire means action. If you know anyone or you have a lot of fire energy of your own, this is an action-oriented energy. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Let's do something. So when you have these outer planets in this wonderful aspect, they want to help you do something really big. So this is the type of energy that's amazing for all huge transitions, like major crossroads. Changes in all areas of life are very much supported. And now that we have the personal planet retrogrades clearing up, it's really opening up the way for these changes that have been pending to really start to manifest. The same day, May 19th, we have this opposition with Venus and Aries to Jupiter in Libra. This is the opposition that I worry least about in general, because Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics, the nice planets basically of the zodiac. So when they get together, even in an ornery angle, it's not as much of a challenge or an issue as oppositions with other planets are, because they kind of like each other, So I could see two main possible manifestations from this. Of course, there are unlimited manifestations, but one could be overindulgence in fun. So just excess of fun, spending, partying, whatever. That is more common at this time, just having way too much fun. And the other way I can see this happening is a burnout from balancing me and we. Like, you could be getting in a really good groove with tending to your own things and tending to your stuff with relationship, because Aries and Libra are this, this polarity of me and we. So you could just be burnt out from balancing me and we, and that could be how it manifests. And this same day, on May 19th, is when the Venus shadow period from the retrograde passes completely. So Ever since April 15th, when Venus went direct, we've been in this shadow period where even though it was moving forward, it was kind of still getting back to full strength. So now on this day, it's back at full strength, and we're not going to have to work with this for, a long time, till the end of 2018, as far as the Venus retrograde goes. On May 21st, the Mercury shadow clears. So in that time between, the first few days after Mercury goes direct, so May 3rd, after that, I'm saying like May 9th is a good time to start, pushing some things forward. From May 9th until the 21st, you're still having a little bit of shadow stuff to deal with, but it doesn't mean you can't get some stuff done. But now, as of the 21st, you have this completely open period from personal planets retrograde or their shadow periods until July 24th. So make the most of your taking action, doing things, going places, making decisions, moving forward. Then on May 25th, we have the new moon at almost 5 degrees of Gemini. New moons always bring new opportunities, and the more you make your wishes in alignment with the energy of the sign, the more the universe can help them come true. So you get 10 new moon wishes. You can check out my blog called Making Powerful New Moon in Gemini Wishes, or you can just go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog, and then put a search for new moon in Gemini, and you'll find it. So you can see the types of things that are Gemini related that you can wish for that help to push your wishes even further. That new moon is also squaring Pluto. So there could be some challenges with people, authority figures, or unknown pieces, or some sort of forces that seem to be working against you. This is one of those examples this month, as I was saying, there's like all these energies moving forward, but they're like little hindrances, little obstacles in the way. So if you're feeling a little bit of a pushback, then just honor the flow and just wait until you're feeling the flow move forward again, instead of pushing against it. On May 28th through the 29th, Mars in Gemini is going to be opposing Saturn in Sagittarius. So this could be another one of those hiccups in progress where, Saturn, this taskmaster, comes in and opposes Mars, this planet that wants to move forward and take action. It's like a little bit of, hey, you have to do something with your responsibility here, or here's a little piece you didn't keep up with that you have to take care of before you can continue spiraling forward. And it is very much a spiraling energy because the energy of Gemini moves in an upward spiral. So you'll notice this month is just full of, even though we have energy in Taurus as well, which is more grounded, there's more of a predominant energy in like the Aries and Gemini, which is like making everything spin, busyness, lots of information, lots of talking, lots of thinking, lots of doing, lots of going places. So then on May 30th, Mars and Gemini will make a nice angle to Uranus, and this is a really great day to put a brilliant plan in action. Uranus rules taking chances, taking risks, doing something forward thinking, and Mars again rules action. So when they come together in a nice angle, this gives really good support for taking a brilliant idea and putting it into action. On the 31st, Mercury in Taurus will make a lovely trine with Pluto and Capricorn. So this is like grounded action fueled by emotional or lesser seen support. Pluto is stuff in the backdrop. It could be spiritual, mystical stuff. It could be a person or an entity with money that is supporting you, but it's something that is positively expressing or positively supporting your expression at this time. So these are the things that are most on my mind. Again, the theme this month is movement and manifestation to the max. I hope that this helps you to take more advantage of the opportunities that will be at play this month. If you haven't already signed up for my free email newsletter, then definitely do that on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, because you get the write-up of the month that's coming. I always send that out a month early, just like I do the horoscopes a month early, so that you can prepare. And some people need to see things more than just hear them, and that written report will give you information in a visual way. Also, I might have some slots still open in my Creating Successful Online Business if you'd like to be free from your geography. I'm not yet enrolling for my astrology apprenticeship program and my coach certification course, but it's coming soon when I will be. So if you think you might be interested in those courses, they do fill up quickly. You can go to my website and click on AnnieHelpsYou.com, click on Work With Me, and send me an email through where it says this class is full and in progress. If you send me an email through there, I'll put you on the list to have first chance at open slots when they come, if you're really interested in working with me. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.